Okay, we're live. And we're live.
Woohoo!
Okay, here we go. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, you like, you share, you comment, you tell all your friends and family about our humble little show. And thank you so much for watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on Twitter at Hollywood Matrimony and on the Instagram at Hollywood Matter, MATR. Or is it the other way around?
No, it's MATR.
I know, but is that hipster?
That's Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I get so confused.
Just go there and find us.
Because Instagram, limits your character count, but so
No, Twitter limits your character
Twitter.
count.
Oh, it's Twitter. But Instagram lists a weird thing where you can only upload weird size pictures.
You have to have certain size pictures, and for some reason it doesn't. Links don't work.
It's a whole ordeal.
But you can put videos on Instagram, but
Right?
links don't seem to work. It's weird.
Whatever. If you hear a dog barking in the background, ignore it. It's not true.
It's not. Did you say it's not true?
Yeah.
It is true. It's our dog barking.
She cannot calm down. I don't know what her deal is.
All right. So we got all kinds of stuff to discuss today. But like she said, make sure if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're on our Facebook channel,
like
make
and
sure you hit
share.
that follow, like, whatever button.
It's a whole word.
Do both. It's probably
Just
best.
go like and share everything, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Oops, hold on. I'm trying to reload. We do all this for fun, so the biggest thing is the only thing we get out of doing these shows, outside of just the sheer joy of getting to spend time together during our broken marriage, is
Okay.
is
That's news to me, buddy.
no, it's just that basically we do it because we love watching movies and talking about stuff, and we just think this is fun,
It is fun.
and we like to hear ourselves talk.
Pretty much. And
Yeah.
now going through this whole Corona experience, and there's professional people that get on the stage and doing their thing. There is an art to just speaking to a camera.
It is, and
But
I think
we've been doing it for years.
well, and I think what helps is
We
the fact
entertain
that
ourselves.
we do entertain ourselves. We're both goofballs, but I think what helps is the fact that I've been teaching classes and getting in front of people. Like, I'm not a public speaker.
Correct.
I don't like talking in public.
And it doesn't bother me at all.
Like, I don't like, most people won't know this because everybody that knows me knows I like to talk. And you don't have to tell me you talk too much. I know. And I honestly...
Did you get in trouble in school for talking?
I was always, every paper says he needs to stop talking. It was always something that talks too much. It was I was either talking or I was drawing on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you don't have to tell me I talk too much. I know it. I'm not going to be offended if you tell me. I even have friends who will be like, will you just shut up for a second so I can talk? I'm like, oh,
My
sorry.
bad.
But I consciously try not to. But you did a lot of like stage theater and music and singing, and she's part of the Mexican Partridge Family, and so they had those performances. That's why when I was doing TV and movie work, I chose stunt work because I didn't need to be an actor in front of the camera, but I could.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm not a very good actor, but that's why I can do all the behind the scenes stuff. So anyway, but we do all this stuff, but the more followers we get, the more stuff you get, the more giveaway stuff we have to give you, the more content we have, the better options we have. So we don't, I'm really, really trying to not monetize what we do.
Yeah, because we could do that whole thing where ads and
yeah, I don't, because I'm not looking to. I know people might say that sounds stupid. I've had people that do this for a living that I know that say, you can make so much money. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but then if you're making money at it, I feel like I'm locked in to having to deliver exactly the way. Like, the one reason we don't have as many followers and all this stuff is because we don't upload something every day. We don't adhere to all these ins and outs rules of being a successful YouTuber and all this stuff. I want to put out what we want to put out when we want to put it out, and
we don't have to feel the pressure.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily.
We do try to make our show look kind of nice. I mean,
do we though?
Yeah. I mean,
it's evolved. It's evolved by our life.
My hair, my makeup looks tight.
I didn't even change. I'm wearing I just wore whatever I was wearing today.
But I mean, we got.
But this would be here. This was here no matter what.
I know.
This is not, just so y'all know, this is not set decoration. This is just this movie room decoration.
And it's not just Halloween. This is our house all the time.
Yeah, it's not our house, just this room.
I'm just saying.
But yeah.
But having stuff like that up isn't just like we're decorating for a holiday.
No, matter of fact, before we moved into this house, Freddie and Jason were always, because you actually hit a button and they shrink them down to fit in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were always locked in this box in the shed. And when we decided to make this movie room, the first thing we talked about was let's just set them up and leave them.
Because I love Freddy. He's like one of my favorite.
And I love
things.
Jason.
Yeah.
And over here, if you saw the
and
video,
we watched Freddy versus Jason the other day.
We did. If you watched the video I posted about our theater room, you'll notice that like over here off camera, there's a Billy puppet from Saw on his tricycle, which I'm a huge Saw fan. There's Slimer from Ghostbusters. There's Chucky and Tiffany down here. I'm fixing to build a Sam from Trick or Treat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird because it's like almost all the big stuff in here are horror themed.
Horror.
But that wasn't a plan. It just kind of happened.
No, it just kind of happened. I mean, we do like other things. Like I have a strawberry shortcake collection there. I've got my Buffy collection over there.
I got my full Star Wars collection upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, so we like other things. It's just
you would think the whole house is crazy like that, but if you walk in, most of that stuff is not public.
Yeah, it's very contained.
Like there is stuff out there, so don't get me wrong.
I mean, I don't know if I've never really got over that our dining room.
You put it there.
I know. So I wanted our dining room to be nice and classy.
We got this big fancy table.
A beautiful table for 8 people and this nice hutch and everything. And then our wall art is a hand-painted Star Wars
Empire
mural.
Strikes Back, Cloud City, that you bought me.
Oh, I love it.
It's a one of a kind because the artist that does it, Felix Matos, right?
Yes.
I think that's how you say his name. He's a great artist. He's a painter.
It's beautiful. It's probably like as wide as this table.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But what he does is he paints these different images of movies and TV and all this kind of stuff.
Tissue?
No, I'm just sloppy. And but once he does that image, he never paints that image again. And we were lucky enough to get that picture back before he blew up bigger. Because he's big, but his stuff is way more expensive now. I think you paid $150, $200 for it, something like that, for my birthday.
Yeah.
And now that same image will probably be.
I just don't know if that's like a normal dining room decor.
Well, no, we used to have it in our entryway at our old house, which was fine there. And we were trying to figure out where to hang it up, and she goes, "Let's hang it over here." And she put it in the dining room. So I'm like,
I was being silly, but it just stayed. Well, it works. No, if I could get a Planet of the Apes one.
Well, we can. We can get one if we need to get one. I need to contact Felix because I still talk to him. We can see if I can get him to do a Planet of the Apes long one, and then we move them over and they do them side by side or above each other.
Don't know that that's appropriate dining room decor, but why not?
It's our house.
Our entryway is
You have a Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints, so we have a Irish prayer about killing people. But hey, whatever.
All right, moving on. This was all discussion.
Just waiting for people to log in. Hi, Mr. Hassel. Are there any good martial arts movies to watch?
You have picked the right episode because I have like 3 martial arts flicks we're going to talk about today. So if you want to stick it out, you'll get to hear them. If you don't want to hear it all, you can come back later or message me personally. I'll tell you what they are.
Yeah, we can.
So you want me to just dive into one of them?
Yeah, let's talk martial arts then.
All right, so let's start off with the red one.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
So the first movie is a movie called Contracts. It is a why are we not seeing the image over here?
Buddy, you need to calm down. It's coming.
Oh, sorry. It's a movie called Contracts. It's a lower budget film. So you have to understand that going in. Is it something that looks like one of our old movies? Right. Now, it's not bad in that way. It's just you could tell this was done with very little budget. Very likely they cast just kind of local actors. They put together what they could. The acting is a little, it's a lower budget.
Is this an American movie?
It is American.
Okay.
It might be like Canadian or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But yes, it is in English. But the whole point of the movie is really, the story is very much similar to Silent Assassin, which was a film I made years ago. It is about an assassin that's hired to take out other assassins, which is what my other film was.
Exactly.
But not that I'm saying they stole it because it had nothing to do with it. But it's a completely different story, but similar idea. But there are some really good fights in the movie. You could tell they're very talented martial artists that worked on it. There are some cheese moments. There's some moments that don't always work, which if you've ever tried to shoot a martial arts scene, you can understand why some things might look good until you see it on the bigger screen work. Because there's, like in my own film, there's one where I dodged from like a bow that was trying to hit at me, and I do a spinning hook kick to hit the guy. We shot it. We thought it looked awesome. Then we go to watch it. The angle is bad, and you can see I'm about this far away from the guy. So it's a lot of it's the way they cut it and angle it. But this is one of those movies that it's not going to be for everybody. Most people will probably think it's a bad movie,
Mm.
but it's got some decent. And as it goes, the fights get better and better and better.
Mm.
It's one of those that you're only going to watch it for the fights.
Yeah.
Everything else in it is convoluted and it's cheese and it's bad acting on here, and some people are trying their best and a lot of cliches and that kind of stuff. But if you're a martial arts fan, it's worth checking out just to watch some of the fights.
Okay.
So, Contracts available now.
Where would we watch this?
I believe it's on digital and on demand. It might be on Blu-ray by now too,
Okay.
because I did it a little bit later than I was supposed to.
Well, there you go. Okay, next.
Move on to one we saw together.
Where do you want to go?
I don't know. So we got that one, we got that one, and we have that one. We got 3 we saw together. Unless
Okay.
you need to do another martial arts one.
You can.
Let's talk about Vanguard. So this next one's another martial arts when we get out of the way. This one is actually in theaters now.
Go watch it.
It's
It's okay.
It's called Vanguard. It's a Stanley Tong film, who is the director of Rumble in the Bronx, Kung Fu Yoga. I forgot the other ones. This is like his 6th film teaming up with Jackie Chan.
Wow.
Now, I was concerned going to see the film because the trailer looks good,
Mm-hmm.
but the CGI that's in the trailer does not look good.
Ooh.
And then I started hearing reviews of the movie not being very good. I started hearing reviews of how bad the CGI is in the movie. And then I posted that I went to the theater by myself to watch it. And it ended up being on the big Dolby screen that I wasn't aware of. I was super excited because I had like 2 rows by myself.
That's awesome.
There was like 6 people in the whole Dolby theater.
Love it.
And I posted, I think was it Friday night? I posted something like, spending my Friday night watching Jackie Chan on the big screen, and then I clicked Vanguard, and then one of the reviewer friends that has seen it posted my condolences. So I saw that before the movie started. I'm like, ugh. Right? Let me just say, the CGI is horrible in this movie. The movie is awesome. I love the movie. I thought it was a ton of fun. Now, that being said, I was also worried that it was going to be one of these things where Jackie Chan was kind of a small cameo, or
he doesn't show up
because he's
too
getting
much.
older,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
a lot of times he shows up in these movies and he's like a secondary character. That is not the case. He is a star of the movie. He's not the star. He's a star with an ensemble cast.
Not the ensemble.
And what they've done is he has some fight scenes. He has a lot of action in the movie. He does probably more gun stuff than he does actual fighting.
Oh, cool.
But he does fight a lot.
Yeah, because that's what the image
They
is.
leave a lot of the physical fight scenes to the younger cast that are part of his team. So they're all in on the action. It felt very much like stuff like Operation Condor, like those older movies, because it's a very James Bondish like movie. So they have a lot of the crazy gadgets. You know, Chan used to be really known for, he'd make these movies and they'd come up with like weird looking cars, and he'd like little gadgets. Cool. And this one, same one, had like a Jeep that goes into the water, also and the tires fold up and it's a boat.
Oh, that's cool.
You know,
I like that kind of stuff.
You know, they have like this gigantic drone they made. It was like the size of like an airplane that's shooting missiles. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's
okay.
I really liked it. Now, that CGI part of it is horrible, and they did the same thing.
What were they trying to do?
They use CGI, and I think the reason it annoyed me is they did the same thing in Kung Fu Yoga, and I had an issue there too. But this is like one of those globe-trotting films, right? Not with the Globetrotters, but they're going different places in the country. So part of it's in Africa. So the premise of the film, which I guess I should have told you, the premise of the film is this guy's daughter is taken. He's like a politician or something. I don't remember. His daughter's taken, or they're trying to kidnap his daughter or whatever. Because they tried to kill him. They took this team Vanguard, it's like this special ops thing. They go to rescue him. So then they go to try to kidnap the daughter. So they're going to go, there's this whole pretty fun, awesome scene against like in the river, the boats, all this kind of stuff. Why is my computer? Hopefully we're okay. Where they're having fight scenes, jumping on raft to raft, and then there's rapids, and you can see how it's. And what's crazy is at the end of the movie, it has all the real Jackie Chan stuff. You know, where it shows the fights and the accidents. Yes. Most of that stuff was shot practical.
Oh.
But then they superimposed it into a different scene to make it like they shot. It looks like they shot a lot of it on a lake, and then they put it on this big rapids thing, so it looks fake. Trying to make it look more dangerous. Yeah. There's a thing in the trailers where there's these cars, and all the cars are gold.
Yeah.
And all those cars, it looks like you're watching like the Need for Speed video game or something. The way they were zooming around, and you could tell it's fake, and that part was awful. The other big thing is a lot of the movie is subtitled, which I'm not against that.
Yeah.
The subtitles were like dark gray.
Oh, it's hard to read.
So you could hardly read half of them.
Uh-huh.
So I'm watching it kind of like, and this is on the big Dolby screen. I still can have trouble reading it.
No, that's bad.
So,
That is bad.
as an action martial arts flick, it's a ton of fun.
That's all.
And it very much reminded me of old school Jackie Chan stuff, just with really bad CGI.
That's too bad.
So,
oh well.
But Vanguard is in theaters now. There's not a lot of new stuff out there to watch, and I'm all for any time I get to see Jackie Chan on the big screen.
There you go.
And he's in a little blue suit almost the whole movie. He looks like.
What is he doing?
He's like the head of the Vanguard group.
Oh, so he doesn't have to do anything.
No, but he goes on this mission because he promises the guy to help protect his daughter. He ends up being in on the action, all of it. But he's in his suit the whole time. So all of his fighting is everything. He's in this little blue suit.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you're looking for another martial arts flick, Vanguard is in theaters now. It's a great one to check out.
All right.
All right. Let's talk about one together, and we'll go back to my other one.
You want to go here?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Tell us about it.
So the next movie we're going to talk about is Jingle, Jangle, A Christmas Story. Is that right?
I believe so. Christmas Adventure or Christmas Story. I don't know.
We'll find out. This is the cutest little movie ever in the whole world.
I really had no interest in watching this movie.
I didn't know anything about it. There's
no review for it.
Well, anywho.
This is a Hollywood Matrimony live only review.
Okay, well, catch it. A Christmas Journey.
Journey, yes.
Oh, because somebody's name is Journey, but it doesn't.
Oh, yes.
There's Jingle,
anyway, tell us about it.
Okay, so this movie stars Forrest Whitaker, and he is a toy maker, and craziness ensues because, like, I felt like when you walk into his magical toy store and everything's moving, it's like when we went to Universal and we walked into the Hogwarts toy store thing and things are happening. That's what it feels like. So there's a little magic involved. There's some song and dance. It's a musical. It's awesome. And basically what happens is someone steals his plans for a new toy, and then things ensue. It's
like Mr. Majorium's Magic Emporium movie.
Correct.
Was that Dustin Hoffman or something? I don't even know if that's the right name. It's something like that. Anyway.
But anyways, so Mr. Jingle Jangle it gets really sad and stops making toys. And this is really about bringing the spirit of Christmas back.
Yeah, there's a holiday film.
Into it.
And it's a musical.
And it's a musical. I said there's songs and dance. It's really good. And so basically we meet this little girl who's the cutest little girl in the whole world. And what is her name? Which one is she? This one. Madeline Mills.
I think it's Madeline.
Madeline.
It's a different spelling.
Madeline. You think?
Let's
go with it. Madeline Mills. I'm going to go with it.
And who else is in this movie?
Felicia Rashad shows up. What's his name?
Keegan-Michael Key.
Yes.
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin voices something. Yeah. Can't tell you. I don't want to give it all away.
That's fine.
And who else? There was somebody else. Nah, I had lost it.
Hugh Bonneville.
Who's that? Who's that? Oh, that guy?
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker. We said that.
I think that's pretty much all the big ones. Anyway.
It's so cute. Oh, this lady. Anika Rose. She's cool. I'm hot now. Basically, it's the story of him. He gets sad. It's Forrest Whitaker. I'm calling Jingle Jangle. It's not his name. He has a hard name.
And his granddaughter comes.
And then his daughter and him, like his daughter used to help him make toys, and then their relationship goes.
And all this is, just so you know, this isn't kind of messing up the movie because this is all told in this like flashback puppet type story.
Yes, which I really liked that.
It was cool. They took these like little doll type things and did like almost like a stop motion animation thing to just kind of tell the backstory, but that design is connected to the rest of the movie. And that kind of just setting everything up. So it's not the main part of the movie. That's just all the setup.
And what I like, too, is it's being read and narrated for us. So Felicia Rashad is our narrator. She's reading the story to these kids. Yeah. And, you know, we don't know who these random kids are. It doesn't matter to the story. She's telling us a story of Christmas. And it's interesting. What I liked about it is she opens the book and, like, the book starts moving. And then you move into the story.
Yeah,
you know, and so sometimes you hear the kids like, oh my gosh, what happened next? And I forgot they were even there.
Yeah, because it goes into its own thing.
Yeah, and I loved, by the way, the costume designs because it's all sorts of crazy patterns and stuff mixed together.
It's kind of like a Christmas Carol meets steampunk.
Yes.
In some elements.
Yes.
With like some
Wizarding World.
Yeah, Harry Potter and a Willy Wonka twist.
Yes, it's all mixed together. And of course, the coolest thing for me is that it's mostly an all-black cast. There are various different types of people in it.
But it is predominantly a black cast. It is. Yeah.
And then tell us why the man made this movie.
So I read an article. This was prior to us watching it. I was reading an article where the person that wrote it, I don't know if they directed it too. Did they?
Let's see.
Yes, the writer-director. I was reading an article and they were asking about making the film, and it was saying that he sat down with his kid to share a movie that he loved with him, which was, I believe, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And he loves the movie, and he's like, they're watching the movie. It was either that or Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I don't remember, but I think it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Anyway, he was watching the movie, and this kid just kind of left. And he was just heartbroken.
He's like, I love this movie.
Yeah, why don't you like this movie? And he said he kind of realized that the kid could not relate to the movie because it's like this all-white cast. It's this whitewashed movie. But that's what was made at the time.
That's what we had.
And realized that he needed to make something that his kid could connect with in the same spirit.
Yes.
And that's kind of the
magic. Because, you know, in Chitty Chitty, like the whatchamacallit, the bed and starts,
no, that's
the car.
The car.
The car starts flying, and it's still, what's his name?
Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, and in the musical. I mean, I loved it. But I understand this thing. So if you think about holiday movies when you were a kid, what was your favorite besides the Poke Your Eye Out, or was that?
That was my favorite movie. Christmas Story and Emmett Otter's Jug Bang Christmas. And the problem with Emmett Otter is I saw it one time when I was a kid, and then I never remember seeing it again. And it was always one of those.
See, and I never saw it till I met you.
And
I loved it.
It's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
My favorite back in the day
go ahead, I'll tell you.
Was Miracle on 34th Street with Santa, and he lives his little cane in the corner. And I know, but I am thinking back, like, obviously there were no Hispanic Christmas stories. So where would have I even picked one up?
My other big one was and I guarantee you probably never seen this. You probably never even heard of it. It was a TV special, I think. Okay. And it always came on every year. Okay. And there was a comedian named Red Skelton.
Okay, I know who Red Skelton
is. It was Red Skelton's Christmas Carol. And he has this hobo character he used to do. And it used to air. I'm sure if I watch it now, I'd be like, why did I like this? But it was a big deal. And I remember watching it every single time it came on.
Really?
And I loved it.
Wow. I've never seen that one.
I'll have to see if I can find it.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, it's Red Skelton.
I've heard of him, babe. But
you might have to type in Red Skelton Christmas.
Nope. You have to find it for me.
Yeah, I'll look it up and find it.
Find it.
I just remember him doing a Christmas special, Christmas Carol, or something.
So, Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey is exclusive on
Netflix. Yes.
So, everybody, you have it. Go watch it. It's actually a super cute movie. Get your kids in there. It's really cool. It is about the magic of Christmas and the spirit of family and togetherness and community. And there's some songs and some dances and some really cool outfits and a little steampunkish. And it is the cutest thing ever, and you just need to watch it. That's all there is to it. I'm sorry. Just watch it. My favorite, though, was the mail lady. Who's the mail lady? She is my favorite person.
Yeah, she was. I was going to say, she is hilarious.
I don't remember her name. Oh, my gosh. So there's the mail lady.
Red Skelton's Christmas special.
It's not a mailman, it's a mail lady. And she's delivering the letters and the packages. You know, it's Christmas time, so that's what she's doing.
But she's in love with Forrest Whitaker.
She's in love with him.
So I will say this. We've talked about this show before. I'm not a huge fan of musicals.
Correct.
I don't hate musicals, so before everybody starts attacking me, you don't know what's good, you don't understand it, blah, blah.
You can attack it.
I like some musicals. I'm not a fan of singing for no reason. It annoys me.
Yes.
I think it takes away the story. I don't think it's entertaining. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's creative. I think it's annoying. I think you either need to sing the whole movie or your music has to have a purpose. And just most of the time, just breaking into song because two people are in love or because you're trying to pass a message doesn't work for me. But in this movie, I thought the songs and stuff fit what they were going, but I didn't find any of them very catchy.
Yeah, not really.
I don't remember any of the music.
Not particularly. Yeah.
Not that they weren't bad.
The first opening number I think is important, but it really is just setting up the story. It's giving us the narrative of young Forrest Whitaker, how he and his wife started the toy store, then they had their daughter. I mean, so it's just really the narrative of setting up the story.
Yeah.
What I do think and what I hope happens is this becomes a stage show, because this would lend itself really well to being on a big stage. I want to be in it. Give me whatever part. I've got the correct skin color.
No, you don't.
To be in it. I've been cast in a musical where I was in the black cast.
My grandmother thought you were black for years.
That's okay. Perhaps I am, because one of the things we're going to do during Christmas is you and I are getting our DNA tested.
What?
So
why?
Because we're going to find out. We're going to find out where we're from.
Oh, great! I'm going to find out I'm a woman or something.
That's not how it That's chromosomes, you dummy.
Oh, is that
You're
what it is?
so dumb. Anywho, this is the cutest movie ever. Go watch Jingle.
It is
Jingle.
a fun movie, and it's already being deemed as one they think it's going to be a new Christmas classic.
A Christmas journey.
It's on Netflix. Check it out. I actually enjoyed it very much, despite the music. Again, the music wasn't bad. I'm just saying it wasn't. I didn't find it as catchy. Like The Greatest Showman. I love that musical.
This is the greatest show.
I think that music fits. I think that music is powerful. I think there's so many messages to it.
That movie makes me cry.
Even though I know that's not an accurate storytelling of Ringling Brother Barnum Bailey guy. No, there's a lot of skeevy, dirty tricks, underhand stuff that went on, but it
was worse. He was worse.
Yeah, I still like the movie.
Yeah, we like the movie. Okay, now what?
You want me to go ahead and do that one?
Tell me about this.
Okay, so
I don't understand this.
What I have been really, really looking forward to, and if you're still watching, this is yet another martial arts flick to check out, is the movie Jiu Jitsu. It is directed by Dimitri Logothetis. I can't say his name. I never could.
Okay.
Longitis, whatever.
Wow.
He's the director of. He was the producer of the remake of Kickboxer, the Kickboxer Retaliation. That had brought Van Damme back as the master with Elaine Mosi and Logothetis. Logothetis. I'm gonna say Logothetis.
Oh my gosh.
But he directed Kickboxer Retaliation, also with Elaine Mousy. Wow. There's a lot of people I can't say their names in this movie. Mousy. And this is another movie that stars Elaine. I'm just going to say Elaine. Elaine's a great guy. I've interviewed him a couple times, including for this movie. And I interviewed Dimitri for this movie as well. So one of my issues when this movie came out, they announced it a while back.
Yeah.
I became instantly excited because it was Elaine, who's a great martial artist. Then they added Frank Grillo, who I like.
You like him?
Crossbones.
Love it.
From Winter Soldier. They added Tony Jaa.
You love Tony Jaa.
I was instantly excited.
Yeah.
I found out Maurice Crump, who's a martial arts guy, was going to be involved. Juju Chan, who's a Taekwondo chick, was involved.
No.
And then they added Nicolas Cage. And I was like, I don't know why Nicolas Cage is in this movie, but I am in. Suddenly,
Nicolas Cage went and became a black belt.
No. Okay. Nicolas Cage has, in fact, trained jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
So he loves the genre. And I found a lot of more information behind this movie. Because my biggest issue with this movie, when they announced it was jiu-jitsu, I had a perception of what we were going to get. And that was my first mistake. Because then the trailer came out finally. And the first thing I and a couple other my black belt friends that saw the trailer discussed, where was the jiu-jitsu? There was all these people kicking and Muay Thai and flipping and twisting and stuff like that. And I'm like, I sat back and I had that same issue. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, I had perceptions of what I think they were doing. And then I also and I was reminded, thankfully, I was in the right path of what I thought about, is the perception of jiu-jitsu that we have now is not based on actual Japanese jiu-jitsu. The perception of jiu-jitsu everybody has now is Brazilian jiu-jitsu because of the Gracies. That is not jiu-jitsu in its original form.
Gotcha.
Jiu-jitsu used weapons. It was throws, arm locks, ground fighting. They kicked, they punched. They did a lot of elements. but it's also one of these things. And I was talking to the director when I interviewed him about it, and because he also wrote this movie, and he talked about how the lineage of jiu-jitsu is one of the few martial arts that's really hard to track. Of where did it really come from? I think it's known it was Japan, but it also could be also traveled all the way back to India. So there's a lot of elements. So the idea for the movie was to bring in martial arts basis of a style that most people have a misconception because of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Correct.
Not taking away the effectiveness and the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's very effective. They proved it 100 times over.
Yeah.
And they're genius to have branded it thanks to MMA. That is what people know Jiu-Jitsu is now. But so this movie's idea first was to bring the spotlight of true Jiu-Jitsu.
Gotcha. Okay.
The second element is it's a sci-fi movie, so there's no rules.
Okay.
This is not just a karate movie. This is a science fiction movie.
Okay.
So there's no rules, so it's creating fantasy. So Jiu-Jitsu has now also become this brand of, it's like asking for a Coke, but you actually want a Dr. Pepper.
Correct.
It's the term, Coke exists, but it's everything.
Correct. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So the idea here, though, is instead of, because of the lineage of Jiu-Jitsu being hard to really track, this movie implies that the alien brought Jiu-Jitsu to this planet.
Whoa.
So this is a science fiction movie. So the story is about...
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, what is the story about?
Now, and also Elaine is a Jiu-Jitsu master in real life.
Oh.
He's also a martial art, kicking, punching, taekwondo, karate, but he is, in fact, he trains traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. He's like a 6th degree.
Wow.
And he also has like a red belt, I believe it is, with the Machados, which is more of the Brazilian, that kind of stuff. So the premise is these warriors that their whole premise is they kind of protect the earth.
Okay.
And they're fighting against the government and this, and they're all Jiu-Jitsu masters.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And that's this whole group. Everybody that's the main stars of the movie are part of this group. None of them are the bad guys.
Okay.
So they're never really fighting each other. And there's this alien that comes in that they have to challenge, or that comes in to challenge somebody, and they're supposed to fight them to protect the planet.
Okay.
And then I'm not going to tell you everything.
Okay, we're protecting Earth.
The alien character is kind of has a lot of elements that are homage to like the Predator.
Oh.
Like it turns invisible and things like that.
Okay.
And it's cool because every one of the main stars have to fight that alien at some point. So they all get their time to shine. They also give them the weapons. Like Juju Chan is well known for her nunchaku use. So she fights with those in the movie.
That's awesome.
Now, when you get into the movie itself, there is a lot of the perceived jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of ground stuff, throws and takedowns merged with their kicks and their twists and punches. So I will say this. Yes, it's a little bit of a cheese movie. You're dealing with a sci-fi martial arts flick.
Fighting an alien.
I had a blast watching this movie. It is so fun. Nicolas Cage is so awesome in this movie.
Really?
Because he plays this kind of crazy master, right? Who's kind of the heart to the movie, even though he's not the main star. He has a lot of stuff. He even has a full-on fight with the alien that's designed with more sword, like samurai fighting. And Dimitri told me that Nicolas Cage does about 80% of his stunt work and fight in this movie.
He does his stuff.
He said the only stuff they didn't let him do was the dangerous stuff. They brought in stunt doubles for that, obviously.
They have to.
There's also this really cool escape scene, I guess you want to call it, at the beginning that involves Elaine and Tony Jaa. And it's shot through a first-person shooter type camera. You know, like if you're watching one of those games. But what they did is they actually leave in and out of that camera. So like it's this long shot that's probably a good 3 to 4 minutes long of just nonstop fights. Yeah. And say you're looking through Elaine's eyes and he's running behind Tony Jaa. Tony Jaa's beating a bunch of people up. And he ends up getting hit and he falls. So you see like through the lens, you hit the ground. And then all of a sudden Elaine rolls out of the lens. You watch him fight somebody, and then he runs to go back to where he came from, and he's back in the lens again. And so it's like in and out. Okay. And the idea was to like people playing video games. Yeah. That was the whole point of doing this.
That's so cool.
So they came together with this because they were getting ready to, and big news in case you don't already know, especially for you, they announced that they were in the pre-production of making Kickboxer 3.
What?
But sci-fi was like the big thing running. He said that's what the studios were looking for. Yeah. And that's why he called Elaine and said, I have this idea. And so they made this first, and now they're actually, I think, fixing to start Kickboxer Armageddon. So anyway, And Tony Jaa was originally supposed to be the master in the kickboxer movies. But scheduling, he had to leave, and they ended up bringing Van Damme, which I'm glad they did.
Yeah, because that makes
so
sense.
This was them finally getting to work with Tony Jaa as well.
Perfect.
So it's a little cheese, but it's science fiction. It's fun. It's got tons of great fights. I really had a blast in the movie. One of the cool stories that you can read in my interviews on our website,
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
for both Elaine and Dimitri. But Elaine tells me this great story that he said he's doing this acting thing. And Elaine, just so you know, he's done a lot of stuff. He was a stunt guy more than anything.
Yeah.
Right? But his kickboxer, I believe, was like his first real lead role.
Yeah.
And so now he's like, so I asked him, like, what is it like working with somebody like Nicolas Cage? Because he hasn't seen the scenes with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, it makes you terrified and nervous because this is an Oscar winner. And he goes, it makes you step your game up. But he said there's this campfire scene where they talk. And he said he has to do this whole monologue thing, and it's cameras on his face, and he does the whole thing. And he said when he finished the scene, he's looking down. He said he looks up, and he said he looks at Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage is like, that's how it's done. And he's like, that was his moment. He's like, yes, you know.
Oh, that's so nice.
So as crazy as you may think Nicolas Cage is,
I think he's a little out there sometimes.
He is. He's a little hippy-dippy thing, but the man, I don't care if it's this single shitty movie that nobody's going to ever see, or if it's this big multi-billion-dollar movie. The man gives everything every time.
Yeah.
He's probably got more movies that suck than good.
But that's okay.
But he's like the Harvey Keitel of this day. It's like, woo!
He's in.
Which is funny because Harvey Keitel was in a movie called Bad Lieutenant. Nicolas Cage was in a movie called the sequel, Bad Lieutenant New Orleans or whatever it was. And so they're both like these crazy actors that I love. Anyway, so it's a great movie. I loved it. It is not for everybody. It's definitely for the martial arts fans. And I hope we get more of it. But if you like great movies, that's probably, of the 3 martial arts movies I watch, that's probably my favorite one I would watch more often.
Okay, watch Jiu Jitsu.
Jiu Jitsu. It is available now, I think, again, on digital and select theaters, that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
What was the other? Hold on, somebody was asking about Red Skelton. Go back, what did it say?
No, they was just saying who it was. We know.
Yeah, Red. Yeah, he did have he had an old TV show. He was a comedian, a TV show, and then he had that special.
Okay, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, whatever you want to go to next, baby.
Which one?
You pick it. I don't care. Let's go.
Okay, let's go there then. Y'all, I did not even know what this movie was about. The next movie we're going to talk about is Jungleland. I had no idea what it was about. I'm sure you told me.
I think I told you like 3 or 4 times as we were trying to decide what we wanted to watch.
Okay. Anyways, it has Charlie Hunnam, which you will watch anything with Charlie Hunnam.
And we have not talked about this yet.
And Jack O'Connell. Which, have I seen Jack O'Connell in something?
Yes, he's been in a bunch of stuff, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it is.
Okay, Jungleland.
But neither one of us have discussed this movie since we watched it. We just finished it and moved on.
Yesterday, I think.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you what you thought, and I purposely didn't. Tell us the story.
So it's basically the story of 2 guys. I think they're brothers.
Yes.
Is what I'm understanding.
Yes, they're brothers.
Jack O'Connell is a boxer, and Charlie Hunnam.
Bare knuckle fighter.
Yeah. Well, okay, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of different.
It's different.
Yeah.
They get in the ring and they just beat the crap out of each other.
It's not MMA. They're just bare knuckle fighters.
Which I think, isn't that illegal?
Yes, depending on if they have a sanction or not.
Anyways, because some of these.
I'm pretty sure they weren't sanctioned in these movies.
No, some of the places these people were fighting were like underground basement fights. Okay. And Charlie Hunnam is his brother, and he kind of coaches him. He kind of helps train him. He's his hype man. He's the corner guy. I mean, he does everything for his brother. And he's
the troublemaker.
This story is just so sad.
It reminded me of the movie Fighter.
Yeah.
With Christian Bale and who was in the movie with him?
I don't remember. The other guy. Fighter. The dude. Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale.
Yeah. But where one brother is the troublemaker, but he's the corner man. But this is it's obviously different because I actually thought this movie was going to focus a lot on the fighting.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
So doesn't. It has
about
fights.
Their lives.
And I like that the fights in this movie are kind of lame. Like from a standpoint, they're not these super choreographed. Rocky. No. They're like people hitting each other and kind of falling.
It's like a brawl.
Yeah.
And it's these people who obviously are all amateur fighters. They're just in there trying to win the money that night.
They have skill, but they don't have a lot of technique.
Yes.
They're just, some of the guys they probably throw in there, like the guy at the end that they fight, you can tell is more of a skilled fighter.
Yeah.
One of the earlier fights, the guy, you can tell he might just be a big guy that thought he could beat the crap out of people.
Well, and it looks like, based on the story, like the 2 brothers are in debt to some loan shark guy.
They always are.
And they've got to win the fight to pay the guy.
Right.
And so they don't, and then that leads to, well, now you got to win this, which is twice the money, and if you don't, we're going to take you out.
And meanwhile, take this person with you to do this. It becomes a road trip movie.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you need to deliver this person here, or we're also going to take you out.
You kind of know that, and it's very gritty.
That was the other thing.
There's not really any good people in this movie.
The whole thing is shot very
dirty
and yellow, and
it's what I love too was the opening of the movie. You have these two brothers. They're getting up in the morning, cooking breakfast, or talking. You can see this is like a loving family. Yeah. They love each other. They care about each other. You can also feel there's some tension between them, and somehow. And then when they leave their house, it cuts to the outside of the house, and it's this ghetto-looking house that has been repossessed by the bank. So their door is boarded up, and they're climbing out of their window. So they're still living in their house that the bank has taken. And going in and out of the window, and like you immediately know, okay, things are not going well for these guys.
They've hit some hard times. It's just, this is another one of those movies where I feel like you make that one wrong choice that leads you down this horrible path, and you make another bad decision, and you keep going further and further.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam's character, who I thought he was amazing in this movie.
He was good.
You know he's English, right?
No.
Yeah, very much so.
So when he was doing the Sword and the Stone movie, that was for real?
That was probably more of his real voice, yeah.
Wow.
Because he was.
I liked that movie. I think nobody else did.
I like King Arthur too, but I can't argue the point with that because it was Charlie Hunnam. I liked everything he does.
He's your dude.
He's my new Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
But it's one of these things that, like, his character is the one that wants the best for him and his brother. He wants to get them out of the place they're in, but he constantly makes bad decisions.
Always.
And it always affects everybody. Like, I mean, all the way, because the movie's about like family and redemption and struggle and all these different things. And even all the way to the last moment of trying to make good decisions, it's a bad decision.
Yeah. But I mean, and he has his heart in the right place.
Yeah.
He really loves his brother and really wants to help him. But there's this one really emotional scene where they just have it out. You know, they're not fighting. They're not physically fighting. They're just like, he's like, look, all you do is control me and tell me what to do. And he's like, no, I'm trying to look after you. And he's like, no. And I mean, it's like this thing where it's just like.
Because the younger brother, I think it goes by Lion in the movie.
Yeah.
The fighter, he's very quiet through most of the movie. Jack O'Connell, he doesn't say a lot.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling that, like, there's moments you feel like he's making him fight.
Yeah.
And there's other moments it feels like he wants to fight.
Yeah. I mean.
And then you start wondering, does he want to fight because he has all this bottled up rage and anger towards his brother because he's never stood up to his brother.
Yeah.
And his brother's thinking he likes it and you're the ticket to get us out of all these problems. Mm-hmm. Because clearly the brother could fight.
Yeah.
In some fashion. He just didn't have the same skill level. And saw him as his way to help both of them.
Yeah.
But never was making the right decisions to do anything for anybody.
Yeah, it was a mess.
The girl in it was really good too.
She was really good too.
She was kind of annoying me when they first introduced her, but then as she went on, you start understanding her plight.
Yeah, so there's this one girl, and her name is Sky. Jessica Barden.
Yeah.
And she plays Sky. And Sky, they tell the guys, you need to be in Reno by this night, and you need to bring Sky with you. Don't ask any questions.
Yeah, so you don't know why she's there until almost the end of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, she tries to make a run for it, so we're like, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
And then later on, you get revealed that's a whole big thing. Like, they're involved in some really big stuff that they don't even realize.
And it's even shadier when you realize what the story actually is. It's like, because you know there's the loan sharks and
the money and all that
kind of stuff. But when it gets into the little creepy level of what they're really being kind of dragged into, and then it goes in this really violent direction I didn't expect.
It does, yeah. Like there's a big thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know that was going to happen.
I really like this movie.
I liked it. I don't know that I could watch it again. It's too sad for me.
Well, it's very heavy.
It is.
And it is one that I don't know if it is one to be watched again.
Yeah.
I think it's a one-time movie.
It might be.
I don't think it's one that will get recognition it deserves, but I think it's one that I think both the guys were so good in that they deserve more recognition for this kind of roles.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie I always tell people this is an actor's movie.
It is.
They're not relying on the lights and the visual effects.
Not.
And the prettiness of it, because it's dirty, it's gritty.
It
reminded me very much of visually of Uncut Gems.
Yes, yes,
in
it
that
is.
kind of
It's
world.
very gritty and underbelly.
Like even the people with money were dirty looking.
Yeah, they were all seedy and gross, and like they wear the same clothes like through the entire thing because they have nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a whole
like there's
mess.
even a scene with Hunim in his underwear in his house, and he's wearing like the tidy whities and they're dingy.
Yeah.
Means he probably wears those same underwear like all the time.
Yeah. And he has just like one outfit, and I'm just like, oh no. No.
But I really loved the movie. I thought it was so good.
It was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It was muy bueno.
Oh, she was in The Lobster? I love that movie.
Okay, where can I find Jungleland if I want to watch it?
Look at the review. I think this was another one that's like unlimited release. Go to the very bottom. It's on digital on demand.
On demand from Paramount. Thank you, Paramount.
Yeah.
So please watch. It is a good movie. It really is. And if you like both of them, if you like kind of fighting, boxy things, the struggle of people to succeed.
And the Jessica character, Sky character, she's actually an interesting glue.
Yes.
That throws in the chaos of their lives.
Yeah.
That not only adds more chaos, but helps them inadvertently figure each other out.
Yeah, they get it together.
She helps one person kind of come out. She has the other person start to listen.
And take
she doesn't do anything for this. It's not her plan.
No.
It's just her existence starts making people feel different ways.
Yeah. It's
a great
really good movie.
All right, moving on. What we got next?
Next, we have, you need to tell me about this one.
All right, I can go through that one kind of quick.
Okay, tell me about
I watched a lot by myself this time. She was busy with
some stuff. I watched a lot of stuff.
You did. It's just, we didn't get to watch a lot of it together. I like better when we watch almost everything together.
It's easier.
This next one's a science fiction movie called 2067.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's probably an Australian based feature film. The cast are Australian people.
Okay.
Ryan Quanten, who you know from True Blood and one of your favorites, Dead Silence.
I love Dead Silence.
And also Cody McPhee Smith, I believe that's his name.
Okay.
You know him when he was a lot smaller. He's kind of an awkward looking adult now.
Okay.
If you look at pull him up so you can, before he plays Nightcrawler in the new X-Men movies.
Wow.
But you would know him, I think, when he was younger. Scroll down to him real quick. Cody Smith McPhee. I said it backwards. He's kind of got a long neck. See, as an adult, he looks a little bit different. But if you scroll down, I'm trying to figure out what you would know him from outside of the X-Men stuff.
Deadpool?
No, that's just he played Nightcrawler again.
Planet of the Apes.
He's the kid in Let Me In. Click on Let Me In.
Yeah.
He's the little boy that meets the little vampire girl.
Okay.
In the American version.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
It's this movie. It's like this futuristic. It's kind of creepy from the time we're in now. Because if you read the synopsis of the film, let me go to it. I'm going to read it to you.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't post my review yet.
That's okay. I'm going.
Read it right there. Oh, no. Go up. Right there.
The lowly utility worker is called to the future by a mysterious radio signal. He must leave his dying wife to embark on a journey that will force him to face his deepest fears in an attempt to change the fabric of reality and save humankind from its greatest environmental crisis.
Now, they're in a world now where most people have to wear masks.
Oh, Lord.
Because the pollutions and everything else jacks up their lungs and everything else. So the world is dying. Guess what? Our planet is dying. So in the future thing, there's like no trees, there's nothing. It's just these burning cities and crime, and there's these workers and they have to wear masks, and like his wife has like breathing problems, and like they get her a mask, she's excited, but then she coughs blood in it. And it's like it's this whole ordeal, and they suddenly there's this time machine thing that nobody knows exists except for the people obviously working it. They call him in, and you're like, why are they even bringing him in? He gets an image on the thing that's like you normally put like the year you're going to travel to. Yeah. And it just says send Ethan Wiley or whatever his name is, White, which is the character's name. Yeah. And everybody's like, why? Why are they calling for you or whatever? And so his dad had worked on this project. Okay. And so it has flashbacks of his stuff with his dad, and his dad had died, and his mom had been killed too in a robbery. And so he jumps through this portal. He's convinced to go. And so then it kind of starts unfolding a lot of connective things of because he jumps pretty far ahead in time.
I'm assuming to the year 2067.
No, 2067 is where they're at.
Oh.
So he jumps ahead of that.
Oh, Lord. So by
And
2067,
so when he lands there,
be able
it's
to
like
breathe oxygen.
No. When he lands there, it's this lush forest world.
How did that happen?
That's part of the unraveling of everything, of what's going on. He doesn't see any other people. He's just like, he finds a skeleton, and then the story kind of starts unfolding from there.
Okay.
And
this seems really interesting.
And here's the thing: is it has some clunky bits. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about they didn't think the performances were very good. I thought they were actually pretty good.
I think he does good. You leave Jason Stackhouse alone.
Yeah, it's for a film that came straight, and I don't know how it was released internationally, but for a film that came straight to Blu-ray or whatever.
For us, yeah.
The effects are really good.
Are they?
Yeah, better than Vanguard.
Oh, wow. Okay, it was produced in Australia So
it is an Australian production.
It is Australian,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
So everybody gets to use their real voices in this movie.
Love it.
It's really, I really liked it. I would watch it again because I kind of like you, or I want you to watch it because I'd like to see you, because there's so many twists and turns, and it's like any other time travel movie where you see something and it connects to something else, and you're like, oh, that's what it is, but then it's really not what you thought it was. And there's this whole thing of, can you change the future without affecting something else? And
butterfly effect, my friends.
And also, it's like, no matter the mentality of no matter what you do, the future will not change.
Happen. Yeah.
And in this case, they put a cool spin on it, and it all worked. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was cool. I watched it today. I wish I'd watch it on the bigger screen just because of the scope of some of it.
We can watch it in here.
But it's really good. I dig it. I can see people being hit and miss with some of it. There are some cheese elements to it, but 90% of the movie is Cody and Ryan by themselves in this other area.
Cool.
And so it's interesting, and then it's also interesting the twist they use, but how it plays it out for the future, to the past.
Okay.
And the connection of the message that was sent and how it was sent, and it's got a lot of Planet of the Apes.
I was going to say, is this a Planet of the Apes or a John Connor?
Yes and no. But any time travel thing is.
Yeah, it is. It's all a loop. Well,
like you learn where.
Yeah, because we learned time is circular; it's not linear.
Yeah.
And parallel universes exist.
Yeah.
Do you think there's another you out there, another universe, another timeline?
I don't think so, because I don't think the timelines in the universes could handle this much awesomeness. I think it would just implode.
Oh my goodness!
If there was two of me, I just think the sheer aura of awesomeness would implode the timeline.
But is it possible a universe or parallel world exists? Honestly, do you think?
I don't know. I don't see why it couldn't.
Would God have done that, though?
God's a pretty funny guy.
If supposedly we have the Bible.
According to Supernatural.
Could that version also have the Bible? Well, that's true.
Maybe they have maybe in their other Bible, things played out differently.
Perhaps.
Or maybe in the other universes, the whole world is Buddhist. Or the whole world is Muslim.
Or maybe Jesus just showed up at the beginning and be like, yo, I'm Jesus. Whoop.
Because, I've always had this firm belief, and not going into a whole religious discussion argument.
I know parallel universe.
I know you're Christian, and I'm Christian as well, but I've always had a firm belief that the mentality of trying to turn other countries to Christianity is the problem, because I firmly believe if this God that we believe exists and is as powerful as we believe that they are, not him, then I think those other religions exist for a reason.
Perhaps.
And I think it's based on, I have a firm belief that.
Well, that's why I'm thinking.
And I'm not talking about the crazy people, Muslims or whatever, that just want to murder, but the true Muslim religion of love and peace, the Buddhist of love and peace, the, what is the other stuff we were talking about that one time? Well, you can go with the Jewish people, or even the people that deal with
all the basic tenets of all your major religions.
Any religion that is based like in love and peace and caring for one another. I always have had this firm belief that it wasn't that they were against Christianity, is that God created this specific religion to base to their culture, and that's what was going to make sense to them. Mm-hmm. So their beliefs are the same, kind of funneled. So it's like if you watch a movie in subtitles, we're all watching the same movie, we're just hearing it differently.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my belief on why all these other religions exist. Not fanaticals, because there's fanaticals in every religion.
Oh, there's crazy people everywhere.
Anyway, 2067 is available now on Blu-ray and DVD, and it's actually, if you like sci-fi, it's actually pretty good. I enjoyed it.
There you go. All right, we have one more movie to talk about tonight, and then we'll wrap it up. This is a good one. So there's a new series on
Hulu. No, Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Amazon.
And it is how many movies?
The series is called Small Axe.
Small
AXE.
Yes.
It is going to be 5 films, and it's an anthology series, but each is a full feature film.
Correct.
Written and directed by Steve McQueen. Not the dead Steve McQueen that was in Rebel Without a Cause or whatever he was in.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen who directed 12 Years a Slave.
He's a black gentleman.
Yes.
There you go.
And each one is about, kind of focuses on race tensions and stuff in different things in London.
Yes.
Because I believe Steve McQueen's from London, I believe.
I think so.
So every story that's going to come out, it's one, I think it comes out every Sunday. The first one, which is the one we're going to talk about today, kicked off last week. So there's a new one tonight that we'll talk about next week. So what is the first one we're going to be talking about?
So the first one is episode 1 or movie 1 called Mangrove.
Right.
Mangrove tells the true story, my friends, of the Mangrove 9.
And I believe all these movies are true stories, I believe.
So the Small Axe is based on the Big Tree Small Axe. Who was it?
Paul Bunyan?
No, the singer.
I don't know.
I'll get to it. Big Tree Small Axe.
Okay.
I was like,
I know.
Basically, the series is set in London, like you said, about the West Indian community between the time of the 60s to the 80s. So the first movie is based on the Mangrove 9. This happened in 1970. During that time period, a lot of African people from the West Indies moved to London. And we're in Notting Hill, which is a nice part of London.
Julia Roberts lives there.
Yeah.
Is that Hugh Grant as well?
Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts. So Notting Hill. But this is the beginning.
Why didn't they come help?
Right? And these people were harassed by the police just because they were West Indian and they were cooking their own food, and they're like,
spices and all that stuff.
Spicy food, which we would like.
So I think they all assumed they were doing drugs and selling drugs.
But they're like, you need to have normal food that normal people are eating. We're like, we are normal people. And they're like, no, you're not.
It's basically like going to like a Chinatown or something like that, and they're catering to their culture.
Correct.
And this place was like the only place that catered to that culture. So I believe, right?
Yeah. And so the police were busting up their place, telling him, oh, y'all are doing illegal stuff. He's like, we're selling food. We're having tea. They're like, no, this is a secret bar and you don't have a liquor license. And it's like, no. And
what's scary about this movie is that it ends up becoming these people that were protesting the harassment of the black people and some arrests and some beatings. And it's scary that this movie took place in the 60s. It's the exact crap we're dealing with right now, too.
Exactly.
That it goes all this way back and nothing has changed.
It hasn't. And you think, hey, it's only happening here. It happens in every country. I mean, even apartheid in Africa with the white Africans and the black. I mean, it's everywhere. And
District 9.
Yes, District 9. You need to watch it. This is London in the 60s. And I'm going to tell you, London right now is not even that far removed from it. Because remember when the prince married Meghan Markle, the people went insane because she's half black. And they're like, oh, no, no, no. And they basically drove her out of the country.
And then they got mad when they decided to separate from the kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's like, we don't want you here. Wait, where are you going?
Exactly. So don't.
If you leave, we can't insult you.
Don't believe that racism does not exist everywhere.
It does.
Based on just the color of your skin.
You know what's funny? Before we get into this movie a little bit more, I remember being younger, and the perception as a white person was the different colored people came from different countries.
Yeah.
Now, I knew black people and Hispanic people were here.
Correct.
But the idea of African American made you assume as a kid every black person came from Africa. If they said you were Mexican, because back then they would call every Hispanic person Mexican.
Everybody's Mexican.
I assumed that I'd always assumed they were all from Mexico. Even my best friend, who's half white, half Mexican, I assumed he was from Mexico because he was Mexican.
Did you ask?
Well, I'd learned as I was a kid because then I'd look at his mom, who was white as Christmas, and I'm like,
sweet lady.
I'm confused about this whole.
Sweet.
I'm like,
sweet.
What?
Sweet.
And I remember asking
his dad that was Mexican.
His dad was Mexican. His whole family was Mexican. So when they'd all come together, like I would see this whole Mexican family and then this whole white family, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And my martial arts family that I was always involved with were all Hispanic, and I was thrust into going to classes
in Spanish.
They were full Spanish. Me and my dad were the only two white people there, and outside of my instructor, the only people that spoke English. All the other people when we'd go train at his apartment nights, class was taught. We were learning Korean martial arts in Spanish, So they're given Korean terminology, Spanish terminology. Like I remember the first night that I learned the word tiempo, just time, right? We were fighting. No one told me what this word meant. So they would yell tiempo, tiempo. Another guy stopped. I did not, because I had no idea what that meant. So I hit the guy in the middle of the face, and they got in trouble. And I'm like, And
you do this, but you do that same thing to me. I told my parents today.
Did you?
Because I was doing something about, I don't know what Bobby's deal with tamales, and you always do like and then you do this, and then you're like point at me, and I'm like, okay, my bad. There's just certain things.
I want to say that I probably got that from Danny.
Probably.
Because I want to say there was a conversation we had one time, and I may have made this up, so I don't quote me. In case his husband, yes, he's gay as well. In case his husband hears this, because Danny's not online, but his husband might hear this, he can ask to see if Danny remembers this or not. And it could have been a different friend, but I remember I had a friend who was mixed as well, and I had a couple of them, because I had one friend that was half Mexican, half Polish. Yes. Another friend, Danny, half Mexican, half white. I had black friends and Asian friends. I had a lot of them. But I remember one of them telling me, because I didn't understand the mixed, how it works.
Yeah.
Right? And telling me that they had one arm that was Hispanic and the other arm was white. And they would do this. And I'm like, I remember asking them, what are we going to eat? And so whatever arm he hit, we were having like Mexican food or like chicken fried steak.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So then I started using that as a joke one time. I would do this or this at her, saying I'm white. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So now it's a thing.
But it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Plus, I can say it to her in public because it's not meant to be racist.
It's just a sign.
But nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I look at her and she's like, "Why are people doing this?" I'm like, "I don't know."
He's like, "Why would I know?" He's like, "It's your people. Why would I know?" I don't know.
So anyway,
so Mangrove centers on our owner Frank Critchlow, who owns the Mangrove restaurant. He's just trying to serve his lovely food, and then the police start breaking him up. They do a little peaceful protest, like "Stop the violence, stop it now" from the police. Which, hey, guess what? We did that too. We Black Lives Matter. And another thing, just like the Black Lives Matter, the police trap them in, then expect them not to try to walk away. And if you try to walk away, then they arrest you because they said, "Oh, you touched me." And 9 people get arrested and sent to trial. I loved watching this trial with the British trial system.
Yeah, I'm still annoyed.
I know.
That they put the stupid things on their heads and all that stuff. Because I'm like, come on, man. I know that they do that officially, because I think they still do that.
They still do.
And I'm like,
I think all the barristers still wear wigs. We'll have to
whatever.
Look it up.
But I do like the way it's handled, because one of the things that I enjoyed mostly, I think, was like Judge and all these kind of movies. We always expect when the judge comes in, you're either going to get the judge that's sympathetic to the plight, or you're going to get the judge that's a racist asshole. And in this case, we get a judge who appears to be a racist asshole.
Yes.
But the reality is he's very strict to the law.
Yes.
And so he's not going to have a mockery made of his court.
Correct.
But he's listening.
Oh, he does.
Because there's moments where we talked about at the end and how some of it plays out. We're like, oh, okay. I think it was you said he turned out to not be a total ass.
Correct.
Because he's a dick.
He is, but he wants you to follow the rules.
But he's listening. He's doing his job.
Yes, yes.
And even some of the other lawyers and the other people involved were kind of the same way, where they would, even though they were against what was going on, they were listening. And I've started seeing a kind of a trend of that show For Life that you just want to watch the second season of.
I didn't realize I missed the first season.
There's a show called For Life that it's really good.
Watch it.
She saw the trailer for it the other day and she goes, "Oh, I want to watch this show." And I'm like, "Are you going to watch the first season? Because this is the second season coming." She's like,
"I missed it."
When did I miss that? I'm like, when I was watching it last season. But there's another case of a lawyer, and that made me think of this because that whole show is about this guy trying to prove his innocence from inside the jail as a lawyer. And the guy that's against him kind of rats out the guy that had been shady because he realized he wasn't doing the right thing. And he's like, he never says I'm sorry or anything like that, but he does the right thing. And the other guy's like, this is your chance to be better, and because he's actually the guy taking over. So this movie, the judge in this was like this. Some of the lawyers were kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the movie.
Did you have trouble understanding them sometimes? No? Because they have a really heavy English and African accent.
It took me a second to get into the West Indies
find the rhythm of
African, and then I got it. The British accent never really bothers me, and I know a lot of the words just from working with a lot of British people throughout my career, so I get it. The funny thing would be getting my dad to watch this. He would not understand anything, and it's hilarious because my dad has an accent.
Your dad's hard to understand,
and he doesn't understand anyone with accent. So I remember growing up, I used to like to watch the British comedies, like Are You Being Served, and Faulty Towers, and he's like, I'm Mija. How do you understand all these people? I don't understand anything they're saying. But Dad, they're speaking English. No.
You know what's funny is that seems to be more and more common of people that have broken English don't understand English if it's in a different language.
It's so funny.
Like I've always prided myself.
It cracks me up.
That I think I actually can kind of connect to different languages, but it's because I spend so much time with different people.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried always to have a very diverse group of people that I connect with. I made a post I'm not going to go into, but it reminded me, like my martial arts background is kind of the basis of my whole life.
Yeah.
And who I am. But my instructors were Mexican, Caucasian, Cuban, Asian, Black, African American. So I've like the whole gamut. And so when you spend time with those people, you learn not only their mannerisms as a human, because their culture and their skin tone and stuff doesn't matter as who they are, but each of them still brings something. Yeah. You know, like my judo instructor is very loud.
Yes.
You know, and I don't always agree with everything he says, but I love the man. And he's
honest.
He's loud. I sometimes don't understand how he can keep a class the way he does things. Wow. But I also, when I was taking his class, I was so happy that's how he taught because it felt the old school vibe.
Yeah.
He yell at you, call you stupid. And do I agree with that as an instructor myself? No. But I'm like, yes, this is what I grew up with. That's what I understand. It's like, he's a big guy. And watching him give lectures as he's eating M&Ms about somebody being too fat is awesome because he knows what you need to do to be better, even if he may not be doing it right now. You know, it's like, it kind of gave me this weird thing of like, I can tell you how to work out. I can tell you how to build muscle. I can tell you how to train. And even though I know that I need to lose weight and I know I need to do a little bit better for myself, I still know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so I can show you this. I can show you that. But I don't feel it because usually I'd self-conscious. I wouldn't talk to people about cardio and all this stuff because I hate running.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I had to run all the time when I was a kid. And so now I'm old enough that I don't have to do that crap anymore. But I know why you need to.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
Anyhow, small axe. You need Mangrove.
It's really, really good. It's heavy, but it's still light at times. It's kind of funny.
Yes.
But it is heavy and it's very, very, very relevant to right now.
It is.
And it makes me depressed.
So sad. It is so sad that it is still relevant. Like the police harassment, then them all getting together to collude. Like that didn't happen. This is what really happened. And then these people trying to just defend themselves. And throughout the course of the story, you find, like, at the end, it shows you the true life story of what happened. And this man was continually harassed for, like, 18 years. Like, it wasn't just a one-time thing.
That was going to be my next question. Were you happy with the ending? Because we talked about on this show, she has a big thing about when you're watching real-life stories, she needs a proper ending, whether it's photos or what happened next.
Like, what happened to these people.
Were you happy with that ending?
I was. I mean, it was very sad to me to know that this real life story happened, but then it continued. Like it didn't stop them just because they went to trial and all these things happened. The police didn't stop there. It kept happening over and over again. And I think that's the interesting thing that we see nowadays is people don't realize or believe or know because it hasn't happened to you that these things continue to happen over and over again.
Yeah.
It's not just something that happened in the 60s. I mean, my grandmother, when she was like in the 40s or whatever, was treated poorly because they were migrant workers.
We've dealt with stuff.
Who cares about the Mexicans? That's what I was saying. Then my mom in school, and then me in school. Like in my elementary school, there were 4 colored people. There was me, D. Fernandez. He was a super nice Mexican kid, and then there were 2 black people. There was a girl and a guy. That was it. And I remember, I'm telling you, I remember the first day of kindergarten, first day into school, and this little white boy is like, "Are you black?" And I had no conception of what that even meant.
Yeah.
That I honestly said, "I don't know. Let me ask my mom and I'll tell you tomorrow."
Well, and that's like
I didn't even know what that meant.
And that's like, and we've talked about, I mentioned earlier, so about my grandmother. It's like my grandmother, she wasn't meaning it mean. She saw you from I don't remember if it was from a distance or an image. Or from an image. And so I remember her asking me when we first started dating, are you still dating that black girl?
Yeah.
And my response was, first of all, that black girl has a name. Second of all, that black girl is not black. She's Hispanic. And my grandmother's answer was same thing.
Exactly.
But it wasn't a place of hate.
No.
It was, as far as she was concerned, if you weren't white, it was all the same.
Exactly.
You know, but that came from the time she was alive. Don't get me wrong, my grandmother was mildly racist. Yeah. But she didn't hate anyone.
She was nice to me.
She didn't hate anyone.
Both your grandmas were nice to me.
Yeah, neither one of them were hateful. They just had that old mentality of, I don't want to say they didn't look at race. They judged people by their skin as a class.
I agree.
My grandmother was very wealthy, and so she had, I think, almost all white friends, to no surprise. She was Baptist, no surprise.
Yeah, Southern Baptist.
It was weird. I'm the only person in the family that brought somebody that wasn't white into the family.
Oh, that's true.
Look at the family. Everybody in our family is white except for you.
And it's the funniest thing. Like, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Because it's not a thing.
I did.
To me.
I've noticed it forever.
And like when we did this road trip a couple of months ago or whatever last year, and we're driving through the entire state of Missouri, never saw one person of color. And you noticed it before I did. I don't notice it.
You know why I notice it?
I never noticed it.
I notice it because I'm always ready to yell at somebody.
Thank you. Babe.
I'm always ready. Are you crying?
Yes.
Oh,
because that's something that I don't notice.
Because with my family,
I don't know if that's good or bad.
My family was never racist from a standpoint of I've never saw anybody be hateful to someone else.
Yeah.
I've heard them, my grandmother especially, I heard her say racist things. But again, it was never from a hateful standpoint. It was just a generic term.
Yeah.
You know, like I've told the story in here before, but she was a massive Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes.
And I remember being as a kid drawing a football player and sitting next to her and her saying, color in black, they run faster. And I'm like, okay. So I had my little ink pen and I shaded all of his skin. And then she goes, okay, that's going to be Emmitt Smith. And then I remember her yelling at the TV using the N-word, saying run and run. And she wasn't meaning it hateful. She was just like, that was what she said. And I remember when she got older, she got a lot more tolerant and wasn't talking like that as much and kind of found her place. And she was a super religious woman. And I remember telling her one time, do you remember that time? She goes, I never did that. Mm-hmm. Like she finally realized, oh, this is awful. I shouldn't be. She's the one that I told you that her house got robbed. And well, I know it's black people because they didn't take the $2 bills. And I was like, what? Yikes. You know, and none of our friends even know what that means.
Yeah.
And I still you know, sadly she passed away earlier this year, but I think there was a change in her mentality because of you. I think once you became part of the family, the conversations were way different with you there when you weren't there. Like there was a definitely white house happening. And it wasn't everybody in the family talking about just white people this, white people that, and chicken fried steaks and this and that.
I do like me some chicken fried steak.
I know you do. You messed everything up. But I think, and I don't know if I've ever told you this or not, but my grandmother not only loved you, my grandmother was very proud that you were part of our family.
Aw,
because she looked at you as a strong, successful woman that started out when she knew you, the reference of the black girl. Mm-hmm. She asked about you every single time I showed up. It was, how is your doing? How is her work going? You know, and she also, because you were the kid's stepmother and did what you did with helping raise the kids, I think she honestly looked at you more as their mom, because she never mentioned my ex-wife other than every so often, how are the kids' moms? She never said her name. Mm-hmm. How are the kids' mom doing?
Yeah.
Because she cared.
Yeah.
But she would always ask, you know, she knew you were kind of the forefront of helping Mackenzie get into the path that she's on, my daughter, to become the vet tech stuff that she is. She knew you were always pushing Daniel to do this. And so she was always, how's yours work going? How is she doing? Is she okay? I know she works a lot, and you know this. And she's home till me, you know, you got a good one there. You know, I really, she's good person. You know, and so it was a whole. I never heard her talk about anybody. She never talk about me that way. And I was the only grandson.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was one of the things that I kind of saw talking about race, that the evolution of, are you dating that black girl? to you being the person that I think, honestly, that you probably respected more than anybody else in our family because of who you are and what you did, not only for me and the kids, but kind of what you stood for as a Christian woman, powerful woman, successful woman, all those things. She always, are you crying again?
No, I'm not going to cry, but it's nice. It's sweet.
So, and now she's gone, so you can't thank her for it.
She was sweet, though. She was always nice to me, though.
But yeah, but the thing is, she was always an asshole to everybody.
Not to me.
Like she was nice to people when they'd first show up, and then you kind of get her like she had a vibe. So, like she was always really nice to my ex-wife, and then when she was going, I never liked her.
I never did either.
I know, but it's hard to tell if she didn't really like her or she's just against her now.
Yeah, she just picked.
Like I almost kind of wanted me and you to divorce just so I could see if she was going to get racist about you.
Oh no, I don't think she would.
I don't know. I'm glad you're rid of that Mexican.
Wow, and I'm not Mexican.
But she even would ask. I remember her even asking me one time, and I was, for the one time I was lost for words. I remember her asking me one time and saying, "Where's Drusilla from?" And I'm like, "Here we go. It's about to happen. She's going to start talking about migrant workers," and because my grandmother grew up picking cotton,
and my grandmother did too.
You know, so that's why I never understood the race thing, because I'm like, you're doing the same job they had to do. You weren't better than them. She was like one of like 8 kids or something.
Oh my, they all worked.
Yeah. So, but I said, well, she's from Wichita Falls, and I said, but her dad's Guatemalan, her mother's from the U.S. as well, but she has Mexican heritage. I think her grandmother was from Mexico, or her grandmother's. I said, at the time, I didn't know exactly what. She goes, interesting. She goes, I always wondered about her people, and I'm waiting for the racist thing to show up. She goes, she's
Nope.
Not the camera. Hold up.
Oh, you get to see Vader.
Vader, you knocking the camera off, man.
He wanted his time in film.
Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway, sorry about that.
Vader wanted his minute in the spotlight.
But she was just like, she's a good representation of their culture.
Oh,
that's what she said one time, and I'm like,
nice.
And I just paused. I didn't say thank you. I just paused, and I was like, she's gonna make a racist statement any moment now. And then she started yelling at me about my earrings or something.
Well,
which was an ongoing argument.
Yeah, that was ongoing.
Anyway, I'm sorry. That was a whole side thing.
No, that was good though. No, it's important because that's what the whole point of the movie is that
of my grandmother.
No, just the subversiveness, the continual racist thing, and that it does happen everywhere, and it's always happened. And I just think that's unfortunately part of the human experience, that somebody wants to feel better than someone else. And you know, I was talking to my friend Sean, who's my black friend, if you want to call him that. He's my BBFF. I call him.
I'm gonna make a racist statement here, or perceived racist statement as a white person. You too are whiter than I am.
Oh, I know. I know. I mean,
maybe not in skin tone.
No, but you know, I told him, I'm like, okay, can we imagine a world where racism doesn't exist? He's like, okay, but then it would be sexism. It would be, I'm taller than you. It'd be like, you're too fat and I'm skinny. I mean, there would be something else to pick apart about someone. Yeah. Because we cannot just be equal to each other, and that's just part of the human experience, unfortunately. Because then when you get into each group of themselves, we have our own racial things. Like people from Guatemala are going to say you're better than El Salvador. Well, people from El Salvador think they're better than Honduras.
Let's use that as a segue to something you probably forgot we were going to quickly discuss. Yeah. Is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion.
Oh my gosh,
and the reason I brought that up, the reason I bring that up is because Janet, what's her last name?
Janet something.
The original Aunt Bev, Janet Hub, something like that, I believe. She's gonna look it up. There was a special on HBO Max, which was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30th reunion. I think it is. And if you don't know, there was a and I didn't mean to cut your story off.
No, it's fine.
But
it leads us into this.
Directly into this is she was
Janet Hubert.
She was fired from the show, so we thought, in season 3. Her and Will Smith have had an ongoing feud for 30 years. There's been hateful things said by both of them. She had even put a video out like she would. Her only regret in life is that she ever worked with him on that show. And so, but during this reunion, the reason I segue to this is they have a reunion where they talk for the first time in 30 years. And she mentions in there about because of stuff he said, she was deemed as difficult. And she's like, so being a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman, it made me think of what you're saying, because it's even the black people have that thing against mixed people, light-colored, dark-colored, stigmas. And talking about she was deemed difficult. She was a dark-skinned black woman. She was a woman. She was a woman of color. Yeah, all these things made her basically outcasted by the industry.
It was rough.
Because this young upstart hip hop phenomenon, now with a hit TV show, didn't want her around.
Yes.
Yet we find out the true story of everything that happened during this, as well as a lot of lighthearted fun and things.
Yeah, I mean, the true story was that at the time she was in an abusive marriage. She just had a baby. Her husband wasn't working, so I'm sure that escalated the abuse because, they feel inferior.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
And she had come from working like stage Broadway,
and so she was used to a more professional atmosphere on the set. And she said, like Will Smith, and he even admits it was him, like his 20 friends hanging out,
he was like 21,
doing music, being loud, and so she was just like, she had to retreat to her dressing room to just be there and do her thing and be ready.
She's pretty much, you would think that any actor like that they command excellence.
Yeah,
professionalism.
And so there was that disconnect of like, he's thinking, well, she doesn't want to hang out with this. And she's thinking, man, why can't he be more professional? And then it just escalates to the, well, you hate me, I hate you thing. And that's not even what it was.
Yeah, and then they said that they ended up offering her a deal. They didn't fire her.
No, the studio offered
Will
her a
Smith
deal.
said in an interview that they fired her.
Yeah, and that's where it all...
That they offered her a deal to reduce... Did you finish watching that thing earlier?
Yes, they only offered her to be in 10 episodes.
Or 10 weeks of work.
10 weeks of work.
And she was dealing with a husband that wasn't working.
Year.
Yeah.
And with a baby.
And a no-compete clause. So she couldn't work anywhere else either.
You can only work for 10 weeks, but you can't work anywhere else.
Yeah, so she said, obviously said no and then the feud on words started, which is what
then
really...
Then he's like, oh, she was fired because she was difficult.
Yeah,
and
she wanted it to be the Aunt Viv show.
And she's like, that was like the kiss of death to call a black woman difficult in Hollywood and say I was fired for being difficult. And she's like, I wasn't fired. I did not take the deal. I walked away.
Yeah.
And so that started like a 30-year thing of just feud back and forth and back and forth. And oh my gosh.
So the show isn't just about that. It's a retrospect. It brings every member of the cast back, obviously, except for Uncle Phil, who passed away years ago.
And that was such a big deal when he passed away, like grown people crying because he meant so much.
He was a lot of people's real life uncle.
Uncle Phil.
Like they grew up, people of color especially, a lot of them grew up with his message. And he was also a Shakespearean trained actor. Mm-hmm. Like I knew him as Shredder from Ninja Turtles, because I knew his voice from that. But I loved him in the show as well. I grew up on that show as well. But I was obviously a different demographic, so I wasn't connecting it I wasn't seeing the show like someone of color would see the show. I was seeing an entertaining show. I loved Will Smith's music. The show was hilarious, and I saw it as a sitcom. Mm-hmm. I didn't see an all-black cast.
Yeah. I
didn't see the issues they're dealing with. Now, don't get me wrong. It would hit me on those emotional, in a special episode of The Fresh Prince. Things.
Like the one that they showed the clip of where they got pulled over, that was like, okay, dude, put your hands up here and don't move.
Yeah, when he's trying to, it was always an interesting dynamic because you had Carlton, who, although he was black, he was living life as a white person.
Very.
And that was a great episode because now you have both contrasts: the guy from the streets of Philly, and you got this rich white black
Will's
man.
Like, put your hands up there and do not move. And Carlton's like, hello, officer. And the officer's like, put your hands out where I can see
He
him.
tries to shake his hand. And, and he's being respectful. And I think it even shifts into an even more important moment when Uncle Phil James Avery is telling him, I'm sorry you have to deal with this, but this is what real life is. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing where he has to talk to Will at some point in a different episode about how he came from being a poor place too, because Will just assumed he didn't understand because he was rich.
Yeah, but
he's like, I came from the streets and I walked with Martin Luther King and because he was wearing all the gear to promote it, like a lot of the kids.
Malcolm X shirt.
Yeah, and he
didn't even know.
And he goes, I saw him speak.
Yeah.
But the show is like a really powerful show that you don't think about the impact shows like that have.
Yeah.
Like despite if we get away from criminal Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show was also very powerful because it showed a positive African American family.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of black people that are friends anyway, not just black people, but friends. They used to say they loved the show, but they couldn't connect with that show because it was like they felt. One friend that I had talking about to it, and I get it, but it could. I think it's just the Cosby Show.
Okay.
He goes, I thought the show was great. I loved it. It was entertaining. It was funny. He goes, but it felt fake because it felt like they were trying to make a white show, but they put black people in, as opposed to seeing that this is a successful black family. It felt like a white sitcom because they didn't really deal with the African American issues. They dealt with life.
Yeah.
Where Fresh Prince
did deal with
everything.
Yeah.
Now that was just a perception of a friend. That's not my perception of the show. I like that show too.
I liked it too. But I did like just the part with the little girl and Rudy and her boyfriend.
Oh, and Bud. I was more of a different strokes man. Don't get me started on the Maytag guy and the molestation and the taking the steak knife to school. Oh my God. That was the first show I ever cried at. Was when they almost molested Arnold and Dudley.
Yeah, and Dudley. Yeah, that was sad.
Anyway,
anyways, the Fresh Prince reunion. It's on the
HBO
line.
Max
exclusively, Max. And now you can get HBO Max app on your Amazon.
Oh yeah, they finally added it to Amazon Fire. They haven't added it to Roku yet, I believe, but hopefully they'll have it.
They worked out a deal.
And also, there's a companion piece.
Yes.
For the what's it called? The Red Table Talk.
Red Table Talk.
It's a Will Smith Red Table Talk takeover on the Facebook, and basically Will Smith is sitting down with a psychologist who was actually there with him, and it shows actually more footage than you see in the special.
Yeah.
Because I haven't got to ask you about that, but did you see she said some really darker, hateful things. It's not in the other special.
I know.
Not meaning being mean to him, but of what happened. And
it was interesting because, like the therapist on there says, he acknowledged it and he accepted it. And that's one of the big things when you're dealing with these kind of things is, well, what you learn in therapy and just listening skills is she needed to tell her story.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, that is her experience.
Yeah.
And he needed to hear it and accept it. And it was hard. He was crying, and that made me cry, because I don't want to see Will Smith cry because I think
you don't like seeing grown men cry.
I don't like seeing men cry. That's the truth of it.
Well, now, would it bother you if they were like a sissy man? If you get a little nerdy.
I don't want anyone to cry.
I know, but I know it always affects you more if it's somebody that's known for being big and strong and burly or tough. Yes, those kill you. If you see a biker cry, it rips you apart.
Oh my gosh!
No. I know. It hurt you. At one point, you were telling me how when my Taekwondo instructor, Mr. DeLuna, passed away, it hurts you more than anything seeing all these karate guys.
All the big black belts crying, and I'm crying too. But I was crying anyway because I was sad.
I think that's probably the only time you've ever seen me really cry.
Yeah.
Because I have no feelings.
I think you cried when your grandfather died. That was 25, 30 years ago, maybe.
Oh, and Bob. Yeah, but we were still barely kind of friends then.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't really see.
I didn't see it. I know you were sad about that.
Oh yeah, I was horribly sad about that because I was with him when he died too.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, but this
Thanks
was.
For bringing me down.
Sorry, no, but this was a really good show, and I do think you need to watch the Red Table Talk just as the companion piece to finish it up. And the thing is, Will acknowledges that he did say some things he shouldn't have said. He was a dumb kid at the time. He was trying to seek the approval of everyone and be the best to prove that he could be the best.
And he was dealing with his own
trauma,
psychological trauma, and it didn't feel like excuses. A lot of times you hear these stories and it comes off
he acknowledges and said, "I'm sorry, I was dumb. I said things I shouldn't have said."
Yeah,
and that's the truth. And I think watching the Red Table Talk actually helped me because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so true. It's a reminder to me. Everybody's story is their story and their experience. So,
and just because it doesn't seem like a big deal to you, it could be a big deal to them. It could
be huge. Yeah. That's why it's so.
Years ago, I tried to stop assuming when people would talk about something or say something that, oh, get over it. It's not that big a deal.
But it could be everything to them.
Yeah, because just because it's not a big deal to me, doesn't mean it's not a big deal to you. And it's the same idea of. And I think I put it in more perspective. It's the same idea of rich and poor people problems.
Yeah.
People think just because somebody's rich that they don't have the same problems. They do in a different way. And I remember talking to a friend that, you know, they were talking about having to pay a big tax bill. And my condolence to them about this $20,000 tax bill with them. Like, the upside is, like, be thankful that you have the money to pay it. It still sucks. And I was telling him, he's like, well, he goes, just be thankful you don't have to pay this kind of tax bill. And I remember us discussing it and saying, look, the equivalent to your tax bill is me trying to afford to buy gas. It's just the same struggle, but from a different mentality. Like, I don't have money. If they hit me with a $20,000 tax bill, I'm screwed. Yeah. But I'm not in a bracket that I would ever owe a $20,000 tax bill in one lump.
No.
You know.
Well, even so, we're on the payment plan.
Yeah.
I got to call the IRS tomorrow about my payment plan.
Speaking of it. Anyway, moving on. No. Check out HBO Max, Will Smith. And HBO Max is not a sponsor of this show, but I do want to promote them a little bit because DC Universe.
They've got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, the DC Universe streaming service is shifting to DC Universe Infinite, which is an all-comic streaming.
Oh,
so
wow.
All their original programming and stuff, if it hasn't already, is leaving DC Universe, and it's all at HBO Max now.
Wow.
Because it's all Warner Brothers.
Wow.
So they're putting all their eggs into the HBO Max basket. And with the biggest thing being this Christmas, Wonder Woman 1984 is getting...
It's coming out.
It's hitting theaters on Christmas Day, but it's also hitting HBO Max on Christmas Day. So if you still don't feel comfortable going to the theater and see it on the big screen, you can get you a streaming service subscription to HBO Max and watch Wonder Woman 1984 at the comfort and safety of your home. And it's the first movie that's getting that kind of simultaneous release on that scale.
Yeah.
You know, there's other movies that have done both, but not like this, and not as a separate charge.
Yeah.
You know, like Mulan did that. It opened internationally, but then it was only Disney Plus, but you had to pay for that extra fee because that was one of the first ones that were trying to figure out how to recoup costs of the films and what came out.
I mean, it's fair.
And I was fine with that because we now own Mulan permanently.
Yeah. If
you didn't go see it, it's eventually going to hit Disney Plus is free, you know, but I was all about supporting the film. This one, if you already have that service, it's going to hit it.
Yeah.
So we're planning to go see it on the big screen and then watch it at home.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to do both.
Before you talk about, and because I know we're wrapping it up, I keep talking about them. I've had these since Halloween now. I just want to take because I thought they were funny.
Okay.
I think I read them to you, but I just thought they're hilarious. I don't think I talked about these in the show. Did I? Did I do these last week?
No. I don't even know what this is.
Okay, so this is a promotion. I may have done this last week, but I'm going to do it again because they're hilarious to me. So this is a promotion, some kind of streaming service called MidnightMovieSociety.com.
Okay.
And one of the studio things sent me this with some other movies, I guess, is promotions. And so it says curated underground taboo and cult horror. Access to a film library of shocking underground, outrageous gore, creature effects, cult classics, and more. The wildest and weirdest reaches of genre cinema. Right? So the reason they sent me these postcards, and I just want to read you some of the movies' names that they sent. They're just funny.
We did not do this.
Okay. So the first one is called Famine. Okay. Which I want to say that I've seen Famine. It's an older movie, I believe. It's just called Famine. It's not really hilarious. It's just clearly going to be something crazy. The next we have Sadistic Eroticism, which can only tell you what could potentially be going on in this movie.
Yeah.
The next one is called Cries of Pleasure, which it looks like it might be some abusive stuff, but it could be a bondage thing. Who knows? It's this last one. It's the whole purpose of this telling you. Because this one is a young lady in a bathtub, and the movie is called Boogers of the Antichrist.
What?
Boogers?
Boogers?
Of the Antichrist.
Why is it a lady
I am not making this up.
Blood?
I am not making this up. This clearly says Boogers of the Antichrist.
You need to get closer to the camera.
I'm going to walk it over.
Oh, my God. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever
Tell me if I'm good enough.
That's fine.
Boogers of the Antichrist. It's things like this that make me concerned and excited about film, because it's like somebody made this movie, somebody distributed this movie, somebody thought this movie was a good idea, and
you people that complain about the little French Cuties movie,
I want to see this movie.
This is the kind of cinema that you should be worried about, not that.
Nobody's complaining about Boogers of the Antichrist or sadistic eroticism. They're complaining about.
And here's the thing:
witches. And
if we get it, we watch it.
Yes,
everything.
one of our.
We watch everything.
There's another movie too that's not part of this, but it's called Black Devil Doll.
Oh my gosh,
which
that's
is
so funny, and it shouldn't be.
It's horribly racist. The premise of the movie is a Black Panther, not a rare, not Marvel, but Black Panther, is being put to death because he's in prison. And through black magic, he transforms his soul into a ventriloquist puppet that has the full afro with the Black Panther hat. And then he commences to go around having sex and killing white women. And, not always in that order.
And just so you know, it's actually hilarious, and I feel bad to say that, but it is.
And we own it.
I mean, there's some bad stuff, like Deathbed.
Deathbed, the bed that eats.
It's one of my favorite movies, and I understand it, which is so bizarre.
There's nothing to understand in that movie.
Yes, because the bed's talking, and it's telling you its experience.
It's called Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Rubber. That's another
Rubber
movie
is
that
amazing.
shouldn't make sense.
That movie should no way make sense or work.
It's about a killer tire.
And he goes,
an actual tire that rolls,
and then people's heads explode. It's so good,
so bizarre. There's a lot of bad cinema, so don't be complaining.
But Rubber is not a bad movie. Rubber is actually a really good movie.
It is a good movie, but it makes no sense.
There's no sense. It shouldn't work.
There's some horrible stuff out there. Leave cuties alone.
I built that whole segment up just to say boogers of the Antichrist.
What?
I'm looking this up after we're finished.
So does it?
I don't know anything about it. I gotta find the trailer.
Lord help us.
Anyway.
Okay, what's coming out on the DVD or Blu-ray or 4K or whatever?
Oh, I guess it should be
Betamax.
Betamax. There's not a lot this week. Looks like
I'm so thankful for my Lion King fan.
It looks like
the
Criterion Collection is putting The Irishman out on Blu-ray and DVD. I guess. If you don't know The Irishman, that's the big Netflix movie. It's like 3 hours or something with
really good,
Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino. Train to Busan presents Peninsula is hitting Blu-ray, 4K, and DVD. Ava, which is the assassin type movie with Jessica Chastain, John Malkovich, Colin Farrell, Common, which we have not seen it yet, so I'll need to see that one. Looks like Mad Max is getting the 4K treatment.
Oh, cool.
Better Call Saul season 5. That's pretty much the rest of it's all some older stuff. So I think those are the only big ones.
Movies coming out this weekend. Okay, so we have. Let me back up one day because there might be some.
Stop messing everything up.
I don't know what this is doing. Go away.
What'd you do? Oh, is that this week?
So coming out.
That's HBO Max. I'm excited for that one.
So coming out on Thursday, HBO Max. So excited. It's Melissa McCarthy and her super intelligence movie. And the only thing I'm remembering is the trailer where she tries to get on the beanbag and she falls over.
I knew that would be the one.
Oh my gosh!
It's another movie that's exclusive to HBO Max.
So you got to check it out. That's Thursday. That can be your after Thanksgiving unzip.
Well, there's also
another. On the couch.
There's also a big Thanksgiving Day release too at the theater.
Oh, is there?
Which is the new Croods film.
Oh, here it is. The Croods: A New Age, open nationwide. I'm excited about that. And Christmas Chronicles Part 2 on Netflix, which I know we're all waiting for because it's Goldie Hawn and her man, Kurt Russell. Which
if you haven't, spoiler alert now, but in the first film, it's just Kurt Russell. And then it's at the end, you're surprised because then Goldie Hawn shows up as Mrs. Claus. So now they're making a second one.
Okay. Also on Wednesday, coming to Hulu, there's something called Happiest Season. It's kind of like a funny, I guess, I don't know. It's Kristen Stewart and people meeting the family at Christmas for the first time.
Aubrey Plaza's in it. I'll watch it.
Yeah. Prime Video, Uncle Frank. It's a movie set in the 70s about Frank being gay.
Yeah.
But
I've seen trailers.
It looks interesting just because of the time period and what we're dealing with.
It's Paul Bettany.
And then Stardust and limited release, obviously about David Bowie. So that's what you need to know about
that. The Ziggy Stardust story?
Yes. So that's Wednesday. Thursday, go to the theater, watch The Croods and Super Intelligence online. And then Friday, coming to Disney Plus is a very confusing version of Black Beauty.
Which the trailer doesn't look like confusing.
The trailer looks normal like Black Beauty, but then at the end it says, the voice of Black Beauty is...
And I don't remember who it is. Is it
Kate Winslet?
Yeah, Kate Winslet is the voice of Black Beauty. And I'm like,
what?
Not Black Booty. That's a whole different movie.
Black Beauty.
I've seen that movie too.
Like Black Beauty, fine. Let's remake Black Beauty. They've done it like this will probably be like the third or fourth.
Yeah, they've made that movie times.
But Disney, I don't know what you're doing, but we're gonna watch
maybe it's gonna be more of a voiceover narration where she's like that's Black Beauty's experiences of talking to who she's with instead of actually talking horse.
I don't even know. Coming out in limited release. This one seems kind of heavy. It's called Princess on the Row. It's about a foster child who runs away to try to go find her dad, but I feel like he's mentally ill, homeless himself. It just seems like it's kind of heavy. But then something cool coming to Apple TV. They haven't had anything kind of new in a while, which is Zappa, which is a documentary about the Zappas.
Frank Zappa, Dweezil Zappa, all the
yeah.
Zappa
So
family.
it's there.
We'll talk about that because we have that one already.
Yeah. So there's actually some pretty good stuff.
We'll also be talking about The Sound of Metal. We were going to talk about it this week.
I'm so excited to see this.
Expired, so they're supposed to send me a new one, so we'll talk about that.
I am just beyond excited. So let me see. Is there anything else we missed?
I think that's all for right now.
Okay. Christmas on the Square is coming out to Netflix
we didn't miss that.
This week. It's a new movie by Dolly Parton, so you'll want to watch that.
So do you want me to tell you about contests?
Sure.
Before we move on, get out of here.
Oh, this Iron Mask movie.
Is that I have
it's
that.
Finally coming out to on demand and digital. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan in kind of like a swashbuckling looking movie.
What it actually probably is Jason Fleming, who is the star of the first movie that this is from, and he's also in this one. So this is probably a Jason Fleming starring movie with Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger making a small appearance.
Okay.
But it's fully promoted as this.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Oh, I know about that.
Will be on Netflix. It's Glenn Close, Frida Pinto, a bunch of people. Haley Bennett, who we know.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron Howard. There's so much good stuff.
Well, that is a Ron Howard one,
It's
right?
the Ron Howard one.
All right, so we still got contests going on. Not a lot of new ones, but I'm waiting for a few new things to show up, so hopefully we'll get changed up here soon. We still got a few copies of Bill and Ted giveaway. We're wrapping up the Train to Busan Part 2 Peninsula, which comes out this week. This will end this week. I still got one extra copy of Picard that they just sent me back. So I had closed that contest, but it's reopened.
Love it.
And lastly, V for Vendetta 4K will be ending this week as well. So you'll be contacted if you won. Also, a new one that we're probably going to be adding, I'm waiting to get confirmation, is the new release of It's a Wonderful Life Steelbook edition 4K.
We've got to give it another try. I've never liked this movie.
Is the 4K edition Steelbook. So I'm waiting for confirmation that we'll not have copies of this to give away too. So if you're a fan, there you go.
We need to give it another try because I've never been a big fan of this one.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jimmy Stewart.
But I like Jimmy Stewart in other things.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one, but I'm also not a fan of Miracle on 34th Street.
And that's the one I do like. So.
No, it's no Christmas Story or Emmett or Jugman.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. As always, you can find us on Facebook at Hollywood Matrimony, YouTube at Hollywood Matrimony, Instagram at Hollywood Matrimony, and Twitter at Hollywood Matter, MATR.
And also, we are in discussions of doing a new show. And yes, you might want to argue about, hey, we don't even do our other two shows that we were doing. I'm going to try to get back to them. But we have a new show that's going to probably be showing up in the next month or two, might be beginning of next year. That's kind of a reaction twist for different things. It'll be a little shorter thing. You can watch them pretty quick. So once we start doing that, then you can give us comments on your ideas and stuff like that. But also, we are going to be doing, I don't know if it'll be live, because I don't know if they'll let me film it live, but we'll definitely have a report, because we are going to go to the Galactic Gallery this week, which is a museum that's fully curated by Ben Stevens, who used to do all the local conventions that we would go to. But it's original artwork of Drew Struzan, who did most of the big movie posters, a ton of different stuff that's actual movie memorabilia, I believe. Yeah. But they also have like a life-size alien queen, all kinds of stuff in there. So we're going to go over there, and we'll find out if it's open to the public, or if because I know you have to make appointments and stuff, but I don't know if it's a public thing yet, or if they're only taking press yet. But we'll do a report from there. So we'll try to go live if we can. But if not, we'll try to do a little video. But I got to find out the rules once we're there. Yes. So that'll be the big thing that's happening this week. But then, of course, we'll be back for another episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live on Sunday, discussing all kinds of nonsense. Yep. And hopefully the dog won't take the camera out next time.
That's okay. And that's the good dog.
That's the good one. And and to be fair, he was just stretching.
Yeah, it's not his fault. So.
And look at there. I just got a comment from the PR people for the movie Contracts, which I even tried to be honest with it. It said that is an amazing review.
Thank you.
Because I'm
Thank
honest.
you. We care. All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.